Hey guys, so if aliens came here and we had to pick one record to be like, this is bass, I would probably pick Rejuvenation by the Meters. Because George Porter Jr., hello. Also, the record's got a lot of hits on it. People Say starts the record, and I feel like the best way to figure out what bass does is to listen to that song. And you hear the intro, and you hear the drums, and you hear the guitar, but then as soon as the bass drops in, something changes in the music, and you're like, oh. I understand what this is bringing to the party. And that's what we do as bass players. We bring something to the party and we're like, all right, we're here. Let's do it. Let's groove. And so that record just has so many classic Meters hits on it. And George Porter's awesome. The bass is real high on the mix. It's foundational. It's groovy. And, who doesn't love some New Orleans funk? So if I had to pick one record to be like, all right, aliens, here it is. Rejuvenation by the Meters. See ya.
Flying saucer in my backyard, right? Well, if we're including aliens in this, the obvious answer is, of course, ZZ Top. Billy Gibbons is definitely out of this world. My personal choice for album would be the 1994 Antenna. What Joseph Michael, aka Dusty Hill, does for the greatest power trio the world has ever known, lasting more than 50 years, is to provide the most rock-solid, steel-reinforced concrete foundation for this band that anyone could ever fathom. There's never a point when the spotlight lands on Dusty for him to show off some incredibly complex facility. What he does is stand back and play the best beat to support the band. A wise man once said, just because something is simple, that doesn't mean that it is easy. And specifically, how Dusty can cut time from 16th notes to quarter notes and be right on it, never wavering, never fluctuating, but dead on that beat, is simple, but it is in no way easy. So for me, the 1994 ZZ Top Antenna album would be my recommendation for someone wanting to understand the purpose and why I have a job.
The record I would play for a bass-curious alien would be Mother's Milk from Red Hot Chili Peppers. Here's the album cover that it had, or that it has. This record was groundbreaking to me as far as bass playing goes and even what cool was. I had spent my years prior to that playing and being in bands that are influenced by Black Sabbath and Aerosmith and Kiss and that that version of heavy metal at that time. And I remember on the radio, this is the day where we're in our cars, we're always listening to radio, and the remake of Higher Ground, Stevie Wonder's Higher Ground, comes on, the Chili Pepper version, and I was like, it stopped me in my tracks. I was like, I've never heard bass like that, and I got to get that record. So I buy the record and check it out, and I really don't get it other than I just keep listening to Higher Ground over and over and over. But one day I'm cleaning my room and I decide to just spin the entire thing, and Taste of Pain comes on, and that song moved me. And eventually the entire record just became a series of hits for me. It became the soundtrack to my world, and it is still my favorite record to this day. So I thought that changed the world for bass playing for a lot of people, at least in that genre. That's not to dismiss anybody that came before it, and it definitely influenced a lot of players after that. But that is a must-have if you're a bass player. I think that record is just tops. If I had to take one recording to a desert island, that would be it. So check it out. If you haven't already, you should have. But it is great. Belongs in your collection. Thanks, Everything Bass. Thank you, Dale. Until next week.
Hi, hey, hello, Clark Singleton here. And if an alien showed up at my house and asked me what a bass player was, the first album I would play them would be Californication by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Now, there are a lot of great bass records out there, as we all know, and a lot of stuff that's older that I could have chosen, but I'm thinking about Aliens here. And I don't know a whole lot about Aliens, as I haven't spent a whole lot of time with them on this planet, but I would expect that Flea would be a good transition point from Aliens to whatever we know as this music that we have on planet Earth. I also think that Flea playing is exceptional on that record, and there's a lot of different things that are covered in the bass world on that record. Flea does an exceptional job on that record of playing very melodically, which is a really cool thing on the bass. He also has a very cool distorted bass tone on that record. That's a really cool thing. Also slap bass. Who doesn't love slap bass? Obviously aliens are gonna love slap bass. And he also does a really cool job of just like playing the bass and creating really cool bass lines that are supportive in the melody and supportive in the harmony, and really groovy as well. Obviously I wanted to choose something that sort of covered rock music and funk music and things that groove and make you want to dance, which to me is an important part of the bass, and something that I would want aliens to definitely learn about very quickly about bass players. So yeah, I think Californication is what I would choose, and yeah, peace, love, and applesauce.
So if aliens landed, what would I give them to show them what bass is? Probably wouldn't pick a specific album. I think I'd probably have to go with a collection of probably the greatest of Motown. I feel like that genre showing simpler lines and more supportive things, walking bass, that type of thing, where the other instruments are holding the forefront and the vocalists, and then, of course, you know, moving all the way up to where the bass is running the show, as it does in a lot of Motown, and the hook is the bass and the whole foundation is being held together by it. That would pretty much cover everything bass could be and show it doesn't have necessarily one set role, that you can show the supportive lines, the lead lines, and Motown kind of has all that contained in it. So yeah, I'd probably give them greatest hits of that era and let them find out about the awesomeness of bass.
Bass players, the people who are really happy to live at the intersection of harmony and rhythm, supplying the rhythmic structure of a song, the rhythms, the repetitive motifs, and then also marrying that with the bass notes, which were most of the time the roots. So he sort of led the listener and the band through the harmonic progression of the song. Started with the jazz guys in the 30s, 40s, 50s, playing unamplified acoustic bass, so in some ways more for the band than the audience. And then into James Jamerson, godfather of R&B, playing these beautiful 16th note syncopated lines that Rocco, Jocko, Marcus, they all kind of took that start and elevated the game. Paul McCartney, creating these masterful pop bass lines. So if I had to pick one song, maybe go to For Once in My Life, Stevie Wonder, and listen to James Jamerson's spectacular groove, bass line, fills, connecting tissue on that song. So yay for bass players. Heroes of the band, in my opinion.
Dale. Man, what a question. I just got to let you know that, first of all, I am on the 610 preparing for Hurricane Marco and Laura, or Laura and Marco. And so I'm on the road. But if aliens were to come to my house, what's the first album that I would have them listen to what is it? And say this is a bass player. First of all, if aliens came to my house, I would say one or two things. Look, you guys don't want to be here. Things are just not happening right now. Y'all want to leave and come back. Or I'd be like, please, can you take me with you? All right, so let's get to the serious question at hand. First of all, it would be a compilation album. And I'm going to try to name these off from the top of my head in no particular order. What's a bass player? What would be on this compilation album that I would put together? Would be What's Going On. It would be If You Want Me to Stay. Papa Was a Rolling Stone. Uptown by Prince. It would be, what else would be on there? Strawberry Letter 23. Not only Louis Johnson, the Brothers Johnson version, but also the version on my record, shameless plug, brothertheodore.bandcamp.com. Did you catch that? What else would be on this record? I said Papa Was a Rolling Stone. Freddie's Dead would be on there. Brick House would have to be on there. Too Hot to Stop by the Bar-Kays would have to be on there. Shining Star would have to be on there. Earth, Wind, and Fire, obviously. Also, Willie Weeks, What's Going On with Donny Hathaway, that would be on there. Just about anything that Rhonda Smith actually played on in the studio with Prince, particularly around the musicology era. Okay, my video is getting kind of long, so I got to keep my eyes on the road and get to Baton Rouge. Look, thanks for including me in this, Dale. I appreciate you, bruh, and everybody else, all the other contributing bass players. So, yeah, of course there's going to be something I forgot by the time I press stop on the camera, but I got to concentrate. All right, peace, y'all.
Man, that's a good question. What one album would I play for aliens who want to know what a bass player is? I'd probably go with Stanley Clarke's School Days for a couple reasons. One is on that album he plays electric bass, upright bass, and piccolo bass. So it gives the listener three views of the bass there. He plays a lot of melodies, he plays chords, he plays great grooves. So I think that would be probably my choice. And another reason is why is when that album came out, and I was there for it, it really set a spark, and it created a lot of bass players because people were really fascinated by the instrument and seeing what Stanley was doing with it. So it was a real catalyst for change. So, maybe same thing would happen with the aliens. Maybe they'd all be bass players. How great would that be? So yes, Stanley Clarke's School Days would be my choice.